everyone, welcome back to my retelling time. Today I want to retell the story. For the title is The Other Woman from John Green. Let's go. At first glance, you might think that the other woman refers to a mistress or the someone involved in the secret romantic relationship. However, this novel completely turns that idea upside down. The other woman in the story is the someone unexpected from the mother-in-law. So, the story begins with Ellie Black. She is the main character of this novel. Ellie feels incredibly happy in her relationship with Dan Cooper. She is portrayed as independent woman who live a relatively simple, and also she works as the marketing director at the hotel. Although she has not known Dan for a very long time, she already feels that he is the perfect man. However, Ellie carries emotional struggle from her past. Growing up in the broken family, she always dreamed of having a warm and loving home. But sadly, her reality was very different. Her mother struggled with alcoholism and passed away in a car accident caused by drink driving. Meanwhile, her father is still alive, but he is emotionally distant, although he supports Ellie in his own way. During her teenage years, Ellie went through a rebellious phase. She started partying and drinking. Luckily, she eventually changed her life, become an independent woman, and built a perfect career. Ellie had actually met Dan once before, but she did not pay much attention to him at that time. They were simply strangers, so they eventually lost contacts. However, sometimes life brings people together at the right moment. While Ellie was working as the hotel marketing director, she met Dan again at the professional event. This time, sometimes was different. They had deeper conversation and enjoyed each other's company. Since Ellie had already ended her relationship with her previous boyfriend, she was open to starting something new. Soon after, Dan invited Ellie to have dinner with his family. For Ellie, this felt like the dream come true because she had always wanted a warm and loving family. Dan's family seemed to represent everything she had been searching for. She was not only attracted to Dan but also to the feeling or the finally belonging somewhere. Dan introduced Ellie to his family, including his mother, Linda. First, Linda seems incredibly kind and welcoming. Ellie believed she had finally found everything she wanted. It is a loving partner and a supportive family. However, at the 10th pace, Ellie began to notice some unusual things about Linda. At first, she tried to ignore them and believed that Linda was simply being a caring mother. When Dan and Ellie decided to get married, things become more complicated. Linda started taking control of almost every wedding detail. First, Ellie appreciated her because it was her first wedding and she felt overwhelmed by the planning process. However, she slowly realized that she had almost no say in her own wedding. Since Linda was paying for everything, Ellie decided to let it go. Then, surprising things happened during a wedding dress fitting. The dress no longer fit her properly because Ellie was pregnant. She and Dan had gotten a little ahead of themselves, and now they were expecting their first child. The wedding was beautiful and formal, but it was mostly based on Linda's vision. During the reception, Ellie and Dan announced a pregnancy. Everyone was surprised, and Linda was extremely happy. She hugged Ellie tightly and was excited about becoming grandmother. At first, her excitement seemed sweet. However, things quickly became overwhelming. Even though Ellie still had a month before the baby was born, Linda already entered full grandmother mode. She bought countless clothes and toys and even prepared a second nursery at her own house without asking to Ellie first. For Ellie, this felt disrespectful. She wanted to experience pregnancy and motherhood in her own way. Unlike Linda, Ellie preferred to prepare everything carefully and consider the responsibility and cost of the raising a child. After their honeymoon, Ellie and Dan welcomed their son, namely Thomas Maxwell Cooper. Ellie decided to leave her job and focus on raising Tom. For a while, everything seemed fine. Later, Ellie invited some of her new mom's friends, including Lisa. Lisa is the beautiful single mother who had also recently had a baby, to their holiday house. During the holiday, Dan continued to avoid confronting Linda whenever she crossed boundaries. Ellie struggled with this because she felt that Dan was not supporting her enough. So one day, Linda and her husband, Michael, were supposed to stay on a yacht, but because this broke down and they end up staying at the holiday house instead. This situation created even more tension. One night, Lisa invited everyone to party and suggests leaving the babies with Linda. Ellie hesitated but eventually agreed. While trying to calm and a crying Tom, Linda carried him downstairs. Unfortunately, an accident happened and Tom was injured. She was taken to the hospital and needed a long recovery process. Thankfully, he eventually recovered without a permanent damage. However, the incident changed Ellie completely. Her relationship with Dan became more distant because he still struggled to stand up to his mother and support Ellie. Because of this, Ellie decided that they needed some time apart to reflect on their marriage. Deep down, Ellie knew that she still loved Dan, but she was unsure how they could fix their relationship. Then, another shocking discovery happened. Ellie find out that Lisa, her trust friend, was having affairs with Dan's father, Michael. She was devastated when she discovered them together. Although the situation was painful, it also changed Ellie's perspective. She started to see Linda differently. Maybe Linda was not simply a controlling mother-in-law. Maybe she was also a lonely woman who had spent years in a marriage that looked perfect from the outside but lacked emotional connection. Later, Michael admitted that the affair was a mistake and asked Ellie not to tell Linda. Ellie agreed to keep it secret. Instead, Ellie invited Linda to lunch. For the first time, she saw a different side of Linda. Linda did not directly apologize, but Ellie realized that there was more of Linda than just being a controlling mother-in-law. Surprisingly, it was Linda, the woman who had caused Ellie so much frustration, who encouraged her to return to Dan and try to fix their marriage. In the end of the story, Ellie began to understand that Linda was not simply the other woman who came between her and Dan. She was also a person with her own struggle and maybe fears and the loneliness. I think this is enough for me. Thank you for your listen. I hope you enjoy for the my retelling and see you.